So I've been working on this one for a few days now, I think. I think for about a week. I've kind of been like looking around for like configuration stuff and whatnot, and I still haven't completed everything. I haven't quite figured everything out, but I think I've got an idea of what it's supposed to kind of look like. It's just the paradigm is different, but here I am in Vieb, another Vim like web browser, or a web browser built with Vim bindings in mind, just like Qutebrowser. But real quick, oh, since a good 90% of you like aren't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. It lets me know like what's going, like what kind of things there are, and I can actually see like which videos you're subscribing for, since like for whatever reason my like top videos have to do with web browsers. So I'm just like doubling down on it right now again and revisiting that because for whatever reason, that's what people are looking at. So hopefully we should be able to like branch out into other things. But, oh, so anyway, we're here in Vieb, the web browser. Some people are like Vieb, and they're sitting here literally like Vieb is pronounced like deep with a V and rhymes with sheep. So it's like Veep, kind of, almost. It's a soft, I guess it's more of a softer P that they're going for. But that's not the important part. The important part is like, how does it handle? So first of all, Veeb does have like their bindings cheat sheet, much like Qutebrowser does. So you can go through and you can see what the default key bindings are. So one thing I was looking at in the process of like opening it up is being used to Qutebrowser. Oh, it's like, okay, how do I move my stuff so that I can use Veeb but also still not have to change my like stuff from Qutebrowser? So what's interesting is someone actually went through the trouble and created configs for that. So if you're on the GitHub here, there are a lot of help stuff and you can go through. It has example stuff and what have you. So we'll kind of yeah. So they've got example configs. So one thing you have to keep in mind when it comes to Veeb is that it has a couple different modes per se than, or a couple more modes than I guess Qutebrowser would have. You can think of it. So you've got your normal, your insert, you've got your command mode, and your visual mode as well. Oh, the following protocol is a different mode. So like when you go into the follow and bring up the linky stuff, that's follow mode. So it has a different keybind set there as well. And then the search mode is going to be different as well. So you search terms. And then the explore mode is basically where it opens up the URL bar and you put in the URL. So rather than those being commands, those are separate modes that you go into. So, and you can actually go through those commands by mousing over here, and you've got them right there. It does explain it in the help docs, which you can access through F1 by default, or entering the help command. It'll enter it in a new tab and things like that. And also, remember, keep in mind that the command mode has its own bindings. And what I found weird is I had to rebind some things, and I still do, to kind of get the similar feel that I had with Qutebrowser, and to kind of capture the full feel. I'm not going to get the same look, but the feel, somewhat the feel and user experience for it, there's still a lot of work that would need to be done to complete that, but it's its own beast as well. There are just some things that aren't quite quality. Like, if I go into a command mode, I can't, like, navigate with, like, the arrow keys through my suggestions. I have to use, like, tab or something else, whereas in Qutebrowser, I can use the, arrow keys, and it's like, okay, yeah, that's cool. The other thing is, like, spawning external commands. I think I found the right one that I'm looking for, but it's still kind of weird. So I have to work out, like, exactly how that works. And being as it's not as mature as Qutebrowser, there is a lot that... How do I put it? There's a lot that isn't, like, documented all that well, or very many people have worked on. So it is based on Electron, which is why it is the way it is. Like, you can see literally from the top here and from the web page, it's like, oh yeah, that's it. So on the GitHub, they have when you go into the app folder, it might actually install these by default with it when you install it, depending on your distro. But in the examples here, it has different VBRCs that you can have set up by default. It has key bindings and what have you that are similar to different other browsers and extensions. So you've got surfing keys that is pretty light and pretty, like, no frills, just like straight up key bindings. And then you've got what? We can go into Vivaldi. And again, you've kind of got a similar thing. So it basically does the what's the word? It basically gives you straight key bindings and configures a couple settings. Oh. And that's about it. That's really all that does. Vieb does have a built-in ad blocker, and I will touch on that. So what I found weird about the Qutebrowser one specifically is this is like a thing I didn't even find on anyone. I'll even open Pendactyl to, like, show you. So, like, again, just key bindings. Just key bindings. The way Vieb does a VBRC is much like a vimrc doc, so it in essence uses a standard similar to it uses a standard similar to a Vim language to configure it. And so you can map commands, you can map keys, and that kind of a thing. The Qutebrowser config specifically was really damningly confusing because of the way that it is messed up all over. So you see, first of all, they have a bunch of commands mapped to different things. And there is hardly any order to it, which when I was going through this really confused me because I kind of figured it out as I was, like, sifting through it. What they did, I don't know if they configured it inside of Vieb by mapping the commands manually through command line, or if they went through and, like, how they did it. But somehow they, like, I don't know how you mess it up this bad that you have no order in, like, your commands so that they're all together and make sense, but they didn't do that for whatever reason. So, like, the tab commands, navigation stuff is all over the place, and I'm like, And then the other thing that they did is they took these commands, some of these are mapped to just single actions in Vieb command, and they mapped those commands to key presses rather than doing it directly to the action. So you've got tab focus 2. If we go up to here, you can see we've got tab focus. Yeah, every tab focus is linked to the B space whatever it is command. So it's like, which I guess makes sense, but at the same time, they were able to organize it down here, but they couldn't do it up here in the commands. Which really, like, just threw me for a loop going through it. So, and if you were to take all of this, and just, like, pull it back down so that it was just the Vieb commands, then you would actually be able to knock out, like, half of these. So basically what I did for this is I went through and, like, did a concising and refactoring of what they did. So here are the custom commands that they have left that I haven't remapped. So when you go through and you are mapping keys, one thing you can do is you can actually map multiple actions to a key press. So you can see on my Shift O, I have open tab and then to explore mode. So basically what that does is I can open a tab and it'll go into explore mode and bring me to the point to where I can actually just type in the URL I want to go to and bring it up. So really, there's hardly any need to have all of this. And you can see up here, I've got all of the redundant commands. These are all commands that I've basically gone through and remapped to their actual in-browser command rather than going through the custom command. So literally what someone did is they went through all the Qutebrowser commands and, well, a few choice ones, and they imported them into Vieb so that they could be used in Vieb. The problem is Vieb, the way it's programmed, is not the same at all as Qutebrowser. So when trying to put in spaces, they used underscores instead. And so they're mapping multiple commands, in essence, to slightly different actions rather than having key presses for that and so on. So you basically go through, so you can see like open underscore dash dash tab, which is exactly lifted from Qutebrowser, and that opens a new tab when you could have open new tab as the thing instead. And you still have to include the angle brackets on the end of it all, even though it's like one thing. So you're in essence taking two capitals and you are having to reach over, depending on your keyboard, reach over to the minus a couple times in a couple other places, and you're still having to do the angle brackets. In some ways that makes sense, in others it doesn't. The way I have my ergo docs configured, I've got shift under the space keys as a hold, so when I hold space, rather than it like repeating space over and over, it does a shift and then I go up and reach over wherever my minus key is, which is basically to the right of my pinky on my Dvorak layout on my ergo docs. So it's pretty simple, but for I know a lot of people, minus is like kind of up and out of the way. And so you basically see the same thing here. They're basically, in essence, creating these redundant commands for something that is actually, in this case, much, much shorter of a command. So I was able to go through and reorder it, and these ones, so if we go and look at the original, so you can see that these RL, end of line and all is all over the place. They're all together here. Having it reordered would have made it a million times easier to read. And that was the problem that I found. So let's actually take the open tab, and basically I'll take advantage of this to show you, in essence, how the mapping works to add a new mapping. So I'm just going to add this to my redundant commands because I'm still kind of like going through and refactoring stuff. Let's see, let's pick the right one. So we can go, let's search for open minus tab. Let's see, it's open new tab and open from clipboard. Okay, so yeah, that's our only one. So we go open new tab, open from clipboard. I'm not sure if Vieb really has a like reload config command, but it probably does, but I haven't looked at that. So you can see basically what we did is we have the nmap. So just like in Vim, you've got nmap, which is normal mode mapping, and unmap, no, that kind of a thing. You've got the imap, which is insert map. You've got cmap, which is command map. Emap is your explore map. Smap, what was that? Which mode? Search map, okay. So yeah, I think it's pretty easy to see what it is. If you go into the Vieb documentation, then it'll tell you. And then, of course, the unmaps is going to be basically the same thing. You've got your commands that follow a similar structure, in essence. So you give the command your custom command name, and then the action that it performs. So what I found really cool, actually, is that, which I don't see as much of a sin in this situation, is you can see that we can take the command, we have our custom command, and it maps to a specific key in right here. So we can map commands or single keybinds to strings of keybindings, which I can appreciate, but at the same time, you can do that in just about everything else as well. I'm not sure if Qutebrowser does that, but I know Vim does that for sure, which means you could also do that with a standard mapping anyway. But so the standard here with a mapping is you give your mode map command, you give it the key press or whatever key string that you're putting in for that. And then if it's a custom command, you've got the colon and then the command that follows it. If it's a standard action in Vieb, then it is just the plain command, in essence, in the angle brackets. And then you can see that we've got a couple others here. I haven't looked into like what the p dot whatever is, but I assume based on the stuff it's some other in-browser commands that it does. So if we look for our, okay, we've already shown kind of like how you would do that. That didn't, okay. I'm going to, actually, so you see we've got explore here, set up next suggestion, blah, blah, blah. So we've got, so what we can do now is we go into command history. So you can see we've got the up and down mapped to command history previous and next. Let's see, I want to say, so we've got explore set up, our command is not quite set up. So I believe if we do so I don't have it quite, for some reason so if I go into and I go help, my arrow keys still don't work. So it's suggesting things, I just have nothing that it is working with. So if I save that, then hopefully what this does when I reopen it, okay, so now I can use the arrow keys to scroll through it. So yeah, basically that's how that works. Is you can sit there, you scroll through it. Again, it's not exactly like Qutebrowser when you first start out. And this Qutebrowser VBRC is very much not exact. It feels like they are lacking in like their Qutebrowser usage and feel. Which, if you're developing a whole different browser and you're coming from other Vim-like browsers, that makes sense. But I would suggest that you get someone who has regularly used Qutebrowser to get in there. Ask for kind of help on that. Well, PRs are a thing, and I'm debating on making a PR with this. So, yeah. So, you've got a whole bunch of settings. The config goes over it. So, font size, basically, for the most part, is the UI size. For whatever reason, they had the font size set to 16 for this particular one. So all the web pages like appeared openly bloated, and so did the UI. So the tabs were really big and everything. So it was like, what? So when I changed it, everything changed as well, including the web the web page view changed as well, which is like, okay, 16 is not quite like, I still run it 1080p, but I don't need that much screen space. And high DPI monitors, I think, if you've got your high DPI settings right, it doesn't need to be that high either for you to be able to see, unless you're really that blind. And I'm not really that blind, but at the same time, you know. So the next thing is the ad blocking. So I've got it set up on custom. So if we go, I think we can go help ad blocker. So here it says it's got 4 options. Off, basically no ad blocking whatsoever. Static, it'll basically use the default ad block that it has, ad block lists it has already. Update, which it'll automatically update those lists, which it only has 2 built in custom. So here in the block list folder, so you've got a couple. It comes with easy list and easy list privacy. So those two are the two that it installs for you. And when you set it to update, it will automatically update and it'll pull those. For whatever reason, it doesn't have a way to pull other lists for you. And so you have to do that yourself. So what I did here is I have a whole list of a whole bunch of block lists that I downloaded. And one of them kind of broke somewhat. For whatever reason, like I've tried with a couple others, uBlock Origin seems to have a workaround for it. But the Earl House, I know, completely wrong way to say it. The Earl House ones just don't seem to work too well. So whatever's up with that, I don't know. But basically, I've got a .update list, which has a list of the URLs to go to. I should probably fix it for AdBlock Plus, which uBlock Origin pulls from. These are all the same lists that I have in my Qutebrowser config as well, so keep that in mind. These are the exact same lists that it pulls from to update those. And then I've got the update script, which is a quick one-liner that basically does that. And it updates all these. So one thing I like about Vieb is it basically comes with the stuff to some of the, what is it? The cosmetic fixes for ad blocking. So like in Qutebrowser, you have to do a lot of the cosmetic stuff manually. And so you end up needing to set up an auto clicker to skip ads on YouTube and whatnot. But here it does that for you without thinking about it. So I think that one should have an ad. Dang it. So yeah, so what you can see, it's loading up the ad. So I've got the ad block installed in setup. And then give it a second. It worked the last time, but you can see there is like literally no ad. So basically the ads are fully blocked. The first time I tried it, it did skip the ad automatically. I don't know what happened in this run, but like it didn't work. One weird thing, it does have, so we can go to help extensions. So it does have experimental extension support. So you navigate to the web store page, and then you go extensions install. And I tried installing uBlock Origin to see what would happen. It doesn't work all that well right now. So like it said, it's very experimental, very early development. So if you go to extensions, basically it would come up, it would have a list of your extensions, and then you could list out your extensions. It'll basically do a little pop-up in the bottom corner. So if I go extensions list, it has that thing that pops up in the bottom. No extensions currently installed. I don't have anything. It would be green otherwise, yeah. Extension removes the extension. It gives you an autocomplete list of the extensions you currently have installed. But again, it's very early development, so I actually wonder if I could go... So it supports both Firefox and Chrome, I believe, is what it is. So you can go and install it. You don't meet these stuff. I don't care. So you can see it downloads it and installs it. So it's installing. And then we go extensions. Oh, okay. So refresh. Rikaikun is installed. The biggest issue that I found with it is it doesn't seem to have a way to configure the extensions, which is a big problem if you're like trying to install them. So yeah, you can remove the extension by doing that as well. But not being able to install the extensions is somewhat of a problem, or to configure them, unless I'm really crazy and haven't dug enough into the documentation. But it would be nice to be able to mess with them and actually configure them. But all in all, Vieb does a pretty good job as a browser. One last thing, it does do containerizing. So you can have your containerized web apps in Vieb. And that is in the Erwick. Easily run websites in containers. So basically what this does is you can set it up for an area. I haven't quite done this yet, but I am debating on using this as a method of like running Discord and number of others. But yeah, you can sandbox your apps that way. And it would also be a way to, I know some people, what they do is they do kind of a similar thing when they're running Facebook, is they basically only run Facebook in one web browser. And that's it. That's all that they get, is that browser. And so like it says here, it's like Franz30, Rambox, whatever. It basically sandboxes it. I'm not sure how the RAM usage is on it. So here we go. Pop open htop. Let's filter for Vieb. And yeah. So what? I've only got... So let's close GitHub. So yeah, still not the best. Again, Chromium or Electron. It is Electron based, so there's your problem. Let's see. Memory. It doesn't use that much memory apparently, but that's also considering it's splitting it between 10 million processes. So yeah, still not the best at it. Would I recommend it as a browser? If you're going to be using Electron anyway, I would probably go with Qutebrowser still, because there's a lot of things that I think it does better and somewhat has a better command structure, but that's just me. I've been kind of messing around with it because I know some people, yeah, Qutebrowser, blah, blah, Python. Yeah, it's like, okay, yeah. Somewhat at this point, I still think it's one of your better options. And it still kills your most everything is going to kill the CPU anyway and take up whole cores and whatnot. But that's a thing unto itself. If you found this helpful, again, like I said, feed the algorithm, feed it up cummies, feed my tummy. 2, you can send me money if you like really find it helpful. If you're looking for a suggestion and you don't want to use Chrome, I believe this one I didn't do a browser audit on it, but I would assume that it's got halfway decent privacy and what all. So you can leave that kind of a stuff. Tell me why I'm wrong and tell me which Vim type browser is the best down in the comments or whatever. And I will see you guys later.
A few moments later.
So, I don't know if it was Pipewire or my mic, but something spontaneously combusted on me. And then the explore mode is basically where it opens up the URL bar and... Really? Really? I'm gonna inspect the rest of this. I will interject in moments that I need to. But it looks like it does pick up later on. We'll see where it goes from here. I will try and interject and fill in the holes as best I can now.
A few moments later.
Scratch that. All's fine, I just had to reload the video clip. I love software. Yeah, oh, look at that, look at that. All that scritchy, scratchy audio. Wow.